as I'm taking a few deep breaths myself to settle into this. Hello and welcome to another Big Mish Movement workshop. Excited to talk to you today about nasal breathing versus using our mouth. We need some clarification. We need to know what we're doing for each one and why we are doing what we are doing. It's important to know this is a big deal. This actually really affects the body. As much as you think there's not a difference between taking air in through the nose and the mouth, there is a difference, and I am here to clarify that for you today. We live in a stressful world, and stress brings about breathing dysfunction. So we are basically living in a dysfunctional breathing state, a lot of us, many of us, and it's coupled in with the stress. This is important to know because breathing is the ultimate hack to keeping us in a good place, keeping muscle tension down, keeping our nervous system in a settled, more calmer state, just more mental clarity, better recovery, just everything will flow and feel better when you breathe better. So if you stay tuned for this whole video, we'll learn how to optimize our breathing and learn about why this affects us and how we can make the most of it. So, like I said, we live in a stressful world. We live in what I call a left brain dominant world, because our left brain is very much dominantly used in life. But left brain is used for speech, cognitive function, skills, your on-go state, your stress state. Most of the skills you need throughout your day, typically for an average human being, will be left brain dominant as opposed to your right brain, which is more of your creative side and the side that we are lacking. The world, the capitalistic world, I mean, less capitalism, whatever it may be, but it is designed for this ongoing state. We are living in an ongoing driven world. That is just the way we're, kind of designed. Life is designed, unfortunately, from very young age, we're put into schools and we're taught to study, and then we're taught to, we gotta get to university, and then we gotta get jobs, and we gotta pay off these debts. There's so much. There really is a lot, and this is why mental health is such a big deal these days, because although we are under less physical stress than our predecessors, ancestors, whatnot, we are imposed to a lot more emotional stress than they are due to the internet, technology, TVs, all that, you name it, stuff that's in our face all the time, which your grandfather and great-great-grandfather was very ignorant of and just probably lived their life, because, as they say, ignorance is bliss. And quite frankly, our on-the-go dominant world and the cell phones, of course, and the internet and all that accessibility has not helped any matters at all. And so we get into these stress states even when it's not our boss, even when it's not tasks, something on the internet we read, our just constant on-the-go mindset of, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta meet my friend here, oh, now I gotta go to yoga class, oh, I gotta go do my chores, by dinner, oh, I gotta wake up early. This is the stress state that we live in, and I will bet you it is affecting your breath rate 100%. Even if you are rushing from point A to point B and you're gasping to get more air in because you've walked with a pep in your step, chances are if you're doing stressful things and if you're just kind of like writing your emails and dealing with annoying people, your breath rate is probably going to stay at a very elevated rate, and that is going to bring about muscle tension, that is going to bring about more stress, that is going to bring about all the anxiety, all the bad stuff we don't want. I'll get to the nose and mouth in a minute. So how does all this affect our respiratory system? Well, you could say humans in general, when we talk about breathing dysfunction, we are stuck in a state of inhalation more than anything else. Meaning that we are good at getting air in, we've gotten excess air in, and we're not getting it out enough. We're not slowing down enough. It's like we're always gasping that air in before we can ever really truly filter it out, and we're just, again, in this fast on-the-go cycle, which sort of hinders the whole breath cycle process as well. And let's talk about a breath spectrum, what I call a breath spectrum. Okay, somebody having a panic attack, hyperventilating is on one end, and they're like rapid breathing. Someone on the other end is maybe a monk meditating in the mountains for days on end perhaps, and their breath rate is probably super slow, bringing their metabolism down. They're just not thinking, their digestive system stopping, everything. They're just not using any energy. And part of the ability to stay in that is this super slow breath rate, which they'll be adopting in their meditative process. So the breath spectrum, where do we live? Well, most of our society lives on the rapid breathing rate end of the spectrum. We breathe on average 22,000 times per day, but that's obviously give or take how stressful your life is. And this is a big reason why meditation apps and all this and mental health is being promoted these days, because we are so far off onto the spectrum of rapid breaths and all this stressful stuff and all that. So how does that tie in with the mouth? Well, like I said, we're kind of in the state of inhalation and rapid breathing. And like I said, that's on kind of natural reaction is to sort of pull air through the mouth, which is stressful breathing. So that's the next part is oral breathing. Mouth breathing is stressful breathing. It simply is. Yes, you are trying to get air in. Yes, you're trying to fill your lungs up with oxygen, which we need to live. However, that rapid rate at which you're doing it sort of signals all the alarms in your human body and you are in stress mode. Okay? Let's talk about exercise for a second, because you're probably thinking, well, hold on, you're exercising, I have to breathe throughout my mouth, right? Yes, to a degree you do need to, but that's because you are exercising. Your body is rapidly heating and you need to move blood and sweat to cool yourself down. And you also need oxygen to these working muscles to just basically help the whole process. So yes, we are in a rapid breathing state, but we're trying to survive. That's kind of the whole point of the game. And so where am I going with this? Well, what you want to be able to do is, as soon as the bout of exercise is over, is go back to breathing through your nose. But because we're in this super stressful zone all the time, we're not trained to breathe properly, we get kind of stuck in this pattern. We just continually breathe through the mouth until we really calm ourselves down and realize, okay, I'm relaxed now. I'm in my parasympathetic rest state zone and I can use my nose again. But that's the whole point, is that we want to be able to control that hack. Remember, I told you, breathing is the hack to your nervous system. So while you're exercising, that is you just trying to survive, but the goal is at some point is you want to control that and bring yourself back down, and that's when we want to use the nose. Here's the big one, sleeping. Oh my goodness, who doesn't have sleeping problems? And did you know that most sleeping problems will come back to some sort of breathing dysfunction? Now, there's lots of other different things tied in, so it's not like, oh, just do some breathing exercises and you'll be better fixed. However, doing breathing exercises will significantly aid your sleep process, whether you get deeper sleep or you won't be tossing and turning, or maybe less snoring. But here's the big deal. The point is we end up using our mouth for breathing, and the whole snoring, sleep apnea is just this dysfunction of we're not using the nose to breathe and pull air in. So when we do have this snoring going on, sleep apnea, and general using the mouth to breathe at night, you're not really sleeping well. And those people usually end up waking up feeling very groggy, tired, and they complain they can't sleep well at all. So big part of that is using the nose. And again, we'll kind of go into what you can do and some tips, but we end up just using the mouth subconsciously, conscious, whatever it is, usually, but also because this is still going on at night usually. It's hard to shut the brain off. And so the stressful thinking, and whether it's dreams or whatnot, that promotes more oral respiration throughout the night. Teeth grinding, TMJ because of malocclusion and the whole dysfunction. I'm not gonna get into all that, but yes, breathing is a big impactor of our sleep, and it starts with the mouth. So nasal is the way. Nasal is really what we want to do. And here is why. First of all, the nose has a lot of good filters. filters for bacteria and even certain viruses. I'm not sure which ones, but breathing through the nose as opposed to mouth, you're actually going to block out a lot more pathogens than with the mouth, which is going to go straight into infecting your body. By breathing through the nose, you're going to increase nitric oxide content in your blood, which basically is more oxygen content, which basically means your muscles are going to be able to work that much better. You're not drastically, but a little bit, or at least on the recovery side, you will be able to recover faster. The parasympathetic state. So we have our nervous system is governed by sort of an excited, go, sympathetic state versus the rest, calm, parasympathetic state. Breathing through the nose puts you into the calm state. Now let me tell you, we want to be in the calm state because life puts us into the excited state all the time. Your cell phones, the internet, life does not give us a chance to calm down, even if we are sort of on the lazy side. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The mental aspect of being on the go, trust me, we need more reeling in. And so by breathing through the nose, we're going to put ourselves into the calm state and probably get deeper breaths overall. And by doing this, you have less dysfunction, less negative reactions, meaning less tension throughout the body, less joint position being affected, because when we have poor breathing, trust me, that affects the rib cage, and when the rib cage is affected, shoulder mobility is affected, hip mobility is affected, a lot of things are affected. So the better we can breathe, the better we can stay in a neutral state, both mentally and physically, posturally, biomechanically, to a degree. And that's going to help us with movement, mobility, and staying in a good, healthy place overall. So when to do what, basically? First of all, when we breathe in, we do not want to suck. We want to pull the air in. I like to think of, because we're pulling from the diaphragms right here underneath the rib cage, kind of like a parachute, because it literally does kind of open up a little bit, widen out, or like a life vest if you want to think about it. But we want to pull in from the bottom as we breathe in. Mistake I see sometimes with my clients and athletes is they suck air in. If you're sucking and moving the hairs in your nose, you're activating neck muscles, you're triggering the whole alarms in your body. You're basically telling your body, I need to get air in, something bad's happening, we need to, all systems go, everybody wake up, wake up. And that's not what we want. Okay, we want to be calm, collective. So don't suck, but pull air in. Basically, in exercise, I like to inhale through the nose as much as possible, but then I will exhale through the mouth. I've talked about this in the past, particularly in core workshops, but oral exhalation, exhaling through the mouth, is very good for activating the core. So that's what we generally want to do. That's why I encourage people, especially when the starting stages of whatever it is, working out or rehab, they must learn to exhale through the mouth just so we can get some good core activation. But we need to be able to breathe in through the nose. Okay, so what if I'm breathing in through the mouth, breathing out through the mouth during intense bouts? Yeah, that's fine, we can do that. But like I said, go switch to the nose as soon as you can. This is an important one. Athletes such as Steph Curry, one of the greatest right now, they've clocked that he has a very low average heart rate, resting heart rate, despite the amount he runs in games, because in timeouts he's able to bring his resting heart rate down to a pretty low level. Why? Because during timeouts, most of these guys are gasping for breath, where people like Steph Curry or the elite, and actually you see this a lot with some elite UFC fighters and boxers, Floyd Mayweather, certain UFC fighters, they'll be breathing in through the nose in between rounds. And this is just because you are bringing your body back to a norm. You're actually fueling your muscles better. You're gonna bring your heart rate down lower, allowing you to get better output as you go back in to your next round. So this is something that Steph Curry does, and then he's able to run around all day and hit shots, cool under pressure. Well, he's working on good breathing. So that's why we want to, even though as hard as the workout may be, I'm doing sprints, whatever it is, as soon as you are done, switch to the nose, and that trust me, you'll feel a lot better. Then, in a few rare occasions, you might want to do the entire workout through the nose, and that's good too. That means you are keeping your body in a calm and cool collective place. It might mean that your muscles have to work a little bit harder. Maybe the core won't be quite as triggered and active because you're not exhaling through the mouth, but that is okay. Now we're relying a little bit more leg muscles to do the work, perhaps. So this is why nasal breathing throughout exercise is sometimes beneficial. It's not better, or in terms of nasal inhalation during workouts, not necessarily superficially better than, nasal exhalation, nasal inhalation, nasal exhalation is not so much better than nasal inhalation and oral exhalation. It's just, remember, oral exhalation gives you the core pressure, whereas if I'm going all the way through the nose, I'm creating less tension in my body, in my core, and I'm relying on other stuff to handle the stability, and I'm keeping myself in a calm place, providing you're getting good air flow. So, tips for sleeping. So there are nose strips or nose plugs that open up the airway. That's great. Mouth tape. I recently started using this. Yes, it sounds crazy, but yeah, it is to tape your mouth. Usually they'll have a little slit, so of course if you need to breathe in through your mouth, you can. But this is a great way to keep your mouth shut throughout the night and encourage better nasal breathing. Yes, I feel that it's helped, although I think I do need to get used to it. I'm not consistent enough, if I have to be completely honest, with mouth tape, but it is something you should definitely try, especially if you're suffering from sleep apnea, snoring, any kind of just bad sleep, lots of tossing and turning, all that kind of stuff. Warming up for exercise. I always usually start a bout of exercise with some kind of breathing. About a workout with some kind of breathing exercise, and this is my chance to pull air in through the nose, exhale all the way, and get good airflow, good circulation. I usually go for 5 breaths, and it is your time to ask yourself, when's the last time I took 5 of the deepest, longest, slowest breaths to ground myself? Well, we rarely do it, where this is the time to do 5 of them. This sets up your respiratory system for nice airflow throughout your whole workout, so you don't have to really think so much about breathing hard during your workout, and that whole nasal inhalation, oral exhalation will just flow nicely throughout the workout, aiding the way you feel, aiding your lifts with good core activation. And then finally, so if you really wanted to enhance your nasal inhalation, in yoga sometimes we do they do a sort of switching back and forth where they go one nostril then the other. Definitely something that you can practice. What we're trying to do is make sure that we're getting air in through both, because trust me, due to our stress and on-the-go state, we are using one nostril more than the other because of our stress on-the-go state, and therefore we're not getting all the air in that we need. By flipping back and forth, what you're basically doing is getting both your nostrils to be working efficiently, optimally, and getting fuller, deeper breaths through your nose. That would sometimes help. Sometimes I'll help clear up some allergies too, and basically get better airflow. Good airflow helps the muscles go, and that is the whole point of all this, especially before your workouts. That's the best time, because you want to be breathing the best during your workouts, right? Especially because we want to bring ourselves back to the calm state as soon as we can. So that's kind of it for today. That's all I have time for. If you have any questions, please shoot me a message and I'll be happy to answer. I'm just going to quickly check some questions here. It says from where. I don't know what you're asking from where, but just the nose strip, mouth strip, just Amazon. You can pretty much look for those on Amazon. Give them a try. They're pretty useful. Especially the mouth tape is something that I think everybody should, if they're willing to try, just because it's going to encourage the nasal breathing. Similar with the nose strips, the double whammy. Mouth guard, some people do mouth guards. I tried a mouth guard, but that does not alter the way you're breathing as much. And also because of the malocclusion, sometimes that leads to more bruxing and grinding. So that's more of a mouth guard you need for if you are grinding and so forth. But if we're having sort of sleeping issues, let's look into the mouth tape, just because we need to encourage using our nose more. But again, use it during exercise, use it during the day, do breathing exercise, do your meditation, because all of that will tie in together. And I think that's all we got for the questions. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe to the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.